Welcome back, On Guard Army. Pokemon 151 is almost here, and with it comes some great new cards to add to your decks. In absolutely no particular order, here are the top cards you should be getting when Pokemon 151 releases, and what decks they'll likely be best utilized in. Blastoise EX is a powerful Stage 2 Water-type EX that has an ability that makes it take 30 less damage from attacks. Its attack Twin Cannons lets it discard up to 2 basic water energies from hand to deal 140 damage for each energy discarded, and 280 damage is nothing to scoff at. This card will be paired very well with Palkia V-Star. Charizard EX is a new Fire-type EX that could very easily be a one-of in the already existing Terra Dark Charizard EX deck. But now, it can better hit that fire weakness, and has a bigger early game one-hit KO potential, with the ability to swing for 330 as early as turn 2, with the attack Detonating Vortex for 4 fire energy. And since Dark Zard accelerates 3, all you need is attachment for turn to reach massive numbers. It also has a 1 energy attack that lets it hit for 160 if damaged. Wigglytuff EX is unbelievably bulky. Being a 250 HP Stage 1 and having an ability that gives it plus 100 HP when a special energy is attached, this Pokemon is extremely hard to KO. With the new Rigid Band decreasing damage done to it by 30, it has essentially 380 HP if something were to try to one-hit KO it. Its attack also does 90 plus 90 more if you played a supporter this turn, and in a deck that wants to tank, it is going to be running a lot of supporters. The only thing that is a little unfortunate about it is that it is turned off by Path, and it's turned off by Temple of Sinnoh. However, with the Solrock and Lunatone combo from this last set, you can completely ignore the effects of stadiums, meaning that Wigglytuff EX can tank for as long as possible. Alakazam EX is one of the more interesting cards to date. It has the unique ability to attack from the bench with the attack Dimensional Manipulation that does 120 damage for 2 Psychic Energy. So while swinging from the bench, you can leave a Klefki, Mimikyu, block Snorlax, or other defensive option in the active position while you chip away at their active. Arbok EX is a new disruptive Pokemon that swings for 150 damage and discards 2 cards from your opponent's hand for 3 Dark Energy, with the attack Menacing Fangs. It also has a 2 energy attack that prevents retreating. This card may be hard to set up, but with Dark Patch and its amazing ability to disrupt the opponent, this could be a solid answer to Lost Box. Being able to judge or Iono your opponent and then discard 2 cards from their hand could be absolutely devastating to their game plan. Zapdos EX could be a fantastic addition to Miraidon EX instead of the free retreat Zeraora or Miraidon they've been running to pivot with. With the ability Bolt Float, which gives it free retreat when it has an energy attached, it could make for a nice pivot. Not only that, but its attack Multi-Shot Lightning for 3 lightning to deal 120 to the active and 90 to a bench damage Pokemon could be a great way to chase down a Pokemon you hit on the turn before with Miraidon but didn't KO. In fact, it has already seen success in Japan, winning the Yokohama Champions League in a list that also included Hawlucha to put damage on the bench Pokemon first to be able to snipe some targets with Zapdos EX, which is a huge help in the Lost Box matchup. Starmie is a Pokemon with the ability Aquatic Enigma, which lets you put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, and then discard the Starmie and all attached cards. This is similar to the Apple Drop Flapple from Rebel Clash, except instead of discarding itself, it shuffled itself back into the deck. This could be great paired with Pokemon like Meowscarada EX with Medicham V to have a free pivot because it can discard itself from the active, and allow you to promote the Medicham V to finish off a target and then take another turn. Or just work as damage modification for Meowscarada. It could also potentially lead to a bit of a resurgence of Samurott V-Star. Hitmonlee is a Pokemon with the interesting attack Tornado Kick, which does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon and then switches it with one of your bench Pokemon. This could very easily be a great addition for Tinglu, for its ability to put damage on everything and then send up Tinglu to lock all of their abilities, allowing you to focus the rest of your damage from Tinglu's attack on fixing math for KOs later in the game. This set also comes with the addition of a new Pidgey, which has the Call for Family attack for 1 energy that searches your deck for 3 basic Pokemon and puts them onto your bench. This will for sure be the Pidgey people run in their decks that run the Pidgeot engine going forward. Rigid Band is a tool that makes the equipped Stage 1 Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks, which could be the push some tank decks need to become relevant. It could be useful paired with the before-mentioned Wigglytuff EX, Arbok EX, or be of benefit to the decks that need a little more survivability to become relevant, such as Glimmora EX or Tentacruel EX. Dodrio is a great new card that has the ability Rampage Draw, which places a damage counter on itself and then lets you draw a card. It also has an attack for 1 colorless energy called Raging Beaks that does 10 plus 30 more damage for each damage counter on it. So it can potentially scale up to some pretty big numbers. It is very reminiscent of the Spiritomb from Unbroken Bonds, but without the Jinx to move damage around. We do have Damage Pump, which could buff up the damage, but this card will mainly see use alongside Tyranitar EX, because Tyranitar has an attack for 2 fighting energy that does 250 damage if any of your bench Pokemon have damage counters on them, which Dodrio enables. Ditto is a Pokemon in this set with the ability Transforming Start, which can only be used on the first turn and only from the active position. It allows you to search your deck for any basic Pokemon other than Ditto, discard the Ditto, and replace it with the basic you searched for. This could be very good for decks that have a very low amount of basics and want to start a specific Pokemon in every game, such as Glimmora due to the Glimmet with Ascension, or something like a Klefki to slow down the opponent. This could also be a very good tool for control decks. Giovannis Charisma, also known as Giovannis Riz, is a new supporter card that lets you put an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon back into their hand, and if you do, attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. This card is fantastic in Arceus decks for setting your opponent back by an attachment, but could for sure see some use in some other decks as well. The existence of this card also might end up making the player that goes first need to think more about whether or not to actually attach an energy going first, because if they do, they enable the use of this card, which sets them back further and puts their opponent a turn ahead. This set also includes Persian, which lets you search your deck for a Giovanni's Charisma and add it to your hand, which you can do once per turn. Cycling Road is a great new stadium that basically works as half a Radiant Greninja. It allows a player to once during their turn discard an energy from their hand and draw a card. This is a fantastic consistency card for any deck that wants to have energy and discard, such as Palkia, Rapid Strike Urshifu so it enables Melanie, or Darkrai for the ability to ramp energy onto the field with Moltres V and Dark Patch. The only downside to this is that you are giving your opponent access to this draw as well. Leftovers is a returning card that now, instead of healing 1 damage counter from the attached Pokemon at the end of your turn, now heals 20 damage at the end of your turn. This could be relevant for getting Pokemon out of range of 2-hit KOs after they've been damaged, and is also good against damage spread. This could also be useful against Sableye decks if they spread damage to set up for a knockout, and since this is healing at the end of every turn, you can also just leave a damaged Pokemon on your bench with this to gradually heal over the course of multiple turns. Big Balloon is a great new retreat tool that gives Stage 2 Pokemon free retreat, which is fantastic paired with Decidueye EX due to its ability to switch itself up to the active, making it a fantastic pivot Pokemon. It's also just a very useful inclusion in other Stage 2 decks as well. And finally, the best card in the set, Mio EX. This card has the ability Restart, which allows it to draw until you have 3 cards in your hand once during your turn. This ability can be used once during your turn for each Mio EX on the field, so even by itself it could be a solid engine. But that's not all. It also has an attack called Genome Hack, which lets you use one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. This is a solid addition to any deck that can accelerate energy consistently. Lugia, Miraidon, Chien-Pao, Charizard EX, or even Arceus with Poppy moving 2 energy over to it. This card is absolutely insane. There are even a few Japanese Pikachu v Union lists that use this card as the deck's main engine to get Pikachu v Union out and attacking on turn 1. Plus it has free retreat, which makes this card even more insane. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I believe that this set is going to for sure shake up the meta. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comment section below what card from this set you are most looking forward to. For me, it's the Dodrio, because I really want Tyranitar EX to be good. Hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you all later.